goodness, everybody's going to be forced to listen to us. This is clearly all over the building. So if anyone has a sale, any vendors have a sale going on, this is the place to make the announcement, right?
Broly Pop figures, 20% off.
All the vendors are like, no, don't say stuff like that. I am so happy to be here with you guys. My name is Vic Mignogna. Don't get scared if you see it printed, like written out. It's really terrifying. It's like, what's with all the G's? It's great going through TSA. You go to the airport, and then the guy's like, Mignogna? Hey, no, can I have my license back, sir? Mignogna. Can I go? I'm so happy you guys are here. It is a beautiful day whenever I get to see you guys, so thank you for being here. Dude, I don't want to scare you, but your ears are pointed. Don't get scared. There are surgeons who can fix that. I could probably fix it. If I borrow your sword, I can fix it right now. He's like, Mommy! Take me away from the mean man! He's used to it. I'm nicer than his parents, right? Are you late? Please tell me you're late. Right? Right? You guys look amazing. And a very tall Ed here. Now, are you Hughes? You gotta be Hughes. Show me your daughter. He was not kidding. Greatest wallet ever. It's magic how you can fit so many pictures in one wallet. You guys, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Chris and everybody at Holly Hill for having me out here. You guys, give them a big round of applause. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys. So grateful. Man, this is a room to sing in. You hear that?
Do it! Do it! Do it!
Should have been gone! Knowing how. Right? Oh, it's got to be a Journey time. I always default to Journey. I don't even know why. Like when you go to karaoke, right? You got to sing Journey. Like Don't Stop Believing. Because you know, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I have never told anybody this. And of course, there are video cameras rolling, so now my secret is out. Don't post this part, okay? Cut this part out. This is just for you, okay? Whenever I go somewhere and there's karaoke, right? I want to do something that the audience kind of gets involved in, right? So Don't Stop Believing, that's like the perfect song. Up-tempo, fun, upbeat, everybody knows it, everybody sings along. But Steve Perry sings kind of high, right? Like, by kind of high, I mean make dogs bark down the block, right? Very high. I can't sing that high. So whenever I get to the parts in the song where it's too high, I'll be like, let's see, let me think, okay, walking down the boulevard, a stranger, right? Touching in the night, street lights, people, living just a fun emotion, somewhere in the night. That's what I do. I watch for people singing, and when I know the high parts come, somewhere in the and I just let them do it. And so everybody's like, man, you sounded so great. I'm like, I totally faked you. I didn't even sing. Like, you guys did all the work. Walter over there plays great music, too, at his table. Every time I hear some cool song on his boombox, I start singing along. You guys, for those of you that don't know, You just kind of sat down because you were tired. And, look, chairs, let's relax a little bit. I've been voice acting for about 20 years. a long time. And I've done over 300 different animated series and video games. And I am so incredibly grateful. I have to remind myself every day, and I encourage you to do the same. No matter how bad things are, you have 100 things in your life to be grateful for every day. So I've been, trying to keep myself centered, remind myself, on your worst day, there's air in your lungs, you can see, you have food to eat, friends, opportunities, and every day, you never know what new opportunity is around the next corner. So I'm extremely grateful for you guys as well. You have really blessed me with your appreciation of my work. Some of you driving distances, Nikki coming to visit me, and so many great people. I'm so grateful. I am overflowing. And then, if that's not enough, I got the power ring, the blue ring, which is for hope, right? Yes.
Strong hearts full, our souls ignite.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Get up. Come up here. You're doing some chant, and I have no idea what you're saying.
I didn't know there was a chant.
I'll do it.
Wait a minute. He's going to do it. Ready?
In fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost in the war of light, look to the stars, for hope burns bright.
I'm just going to sit down, and you take this, all right? Dude, I love that. Thank you. My friend Johnny gave it to me. Thank you. I want to answer any questions you have about voice acting, about Star Trek. Any Star Trek fans in here? Come on now. Don't be. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. I see that shirt too. That's an awesome shirt. For those of you that don't know, in addition to the voice acting work, I am the world's biggest, nerdiest Star Trek fan. Classic Star Trek. The original, back in the late 60s. I grew up loving Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy. I love that show. And so about 6 years ago, I decided that I wanted to fulfill my childhood dream of playing Captain Kirk. So, yes, I'm a huge nerd, and I'm proud of it. And so we started a web series, and I hope you'll check it out. Online, Star Trek Continues. We have 11 full-length episodes, and here's the best part. It's all free. It's all free to watch. This is my love letter to Star Trek. This was like my way of saying thank you for inspiring me when I was this young man's age. I didn't have cool pointed ears, but I wish I had, probably, at that time. Check it out online, and even if you're not a Star Trek fan, I'm sure somebody in your family is. Let them know. You remember, I don't know if you know this or not, but the original Star Trek, did you know that it was canceled? Like, abruptly, just canceled in its third television season. But at the beginning of every episode, what would Captain Kirk say? These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. It's a 5-year mission, right? To explore strange new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Right? So they were canceled in their third season now. There was no 5-year mission. And then the next time you saw Kirk and Spock and all of them was 10 years later in Star Trek The Motion Picture. And by that time, Kirk had become an admiral at Starfleet, and he wasn't even captain of the Enterprise anymore. Spock had gone back to Vulcan. Everybody had kind of gone their own way. So my thinking was, well, wouldn't it be cool to finish the original 5-year mission of the Enterprise and craft stories to explain why everyone is where they were when the motion picture begins. So we perfectly, these 11 episodes, perfectly fill that gap. They pick up right where the original series was canceled. We rebuilt the entire soundstage to the original series. And then we made these episodes, and it leaves we finish the 5-year mission, we return the Enterprise to Earth, and we leave everybody right where they were when the motion picture begins. So check it out, StarTrekContinues.com, all free to watch. And we're going to take a few minutes to chat with you about anything you'd like to talk about. So who's got a question? Who wants to start us off? Yes? What was my most favorite role that I ever did? Oh, dude, how could I possibly pick one? He was fun.
Drunko Crow, he was a lot of fun. I like that guy. I like everything he drinks. I mean, his fighting skills. That's what I mean.
You know, he was a lot of fun. You know, I used to try to be very diplomatic. When anyone would ask me, what's your favorite character? I would kind of give them the look over. And I see this. See that guy's hat? I see Ruby, right? So if he were to come and go, hey, who's your favorite character? I'd be like,
Who do you think? Drunko Crow. Come on, kid.
Right? And then like if this young lady would come up and go, who's your favorite character? I'm looking her over, right? I'm thinking, she would probably really like it if I said Ed from Full Metal. So I'm like, oh, of course, a Full Metal Alchemist, right? But then something happened that changed everything. The last episode of Brotherhood. When we got to the last episode of Brotherhood, and I was turning the page in the script, and I realized I was on the last page. And I was overcome with this thought that there's probably not going to be any more. This is probably the last thing I'll get to say as Edward Elric. And I got very emotional about it. I took my phone out and I put it on the little window seal of the studio and recorded myself doing that last monologue that Ed does as he's getting on the train. Talks about equivalent exchange and stuff, and Heart Made Full Metal. Oh my gosh. After that, I realized that I probably had to be honest and tell you that probably Full Metal Alchemist is the thing I'm most proud of. I love that character so much. It was a great series with a great story, and it was a real privilege to be a part of it. Now, having said that, I do love me some Tamaki from Orion. I'm sorry, Tamaki, I'm sorry. I love that show so much. Long live the poor. And I hope there's more, because I would love for there to be more Orion. And you know, the manga continues. So like the story continued. They just only made the one season. So I'm secretly hoping that maybe someday, some way, somehow, there will be another Orion season. Yes? Takanaga, yes. More obscure roles. There are plenty of those. No, she was amazing. You know what's funny? Has anyone ever seen Wallflower? Anyone ever seen that show? Wallflower is kind of like Oron High School on crack. You know what I mean? It's like Oron. It's got this, you know, group of guys and the one girl, but it's just weirder and kind of dark, a little dark. Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's funny whenever I tell people, you know, that I've done like 300 different things. They're like, really? I only knew like 4 or 5 things you did. But that's because a lot of them are obscure, less well-known things. But let's see, what are some... There was a show that I did years ago called Generator Gall. What a great show. And it was directed by the same guy that directed Full Metal Alchemist. And I didn't even know that until way after. But it was a great show. Seiji Mizushima was the director's name. And it's only like 12 episodes, so it's really easy to sit down and binge, like in one weekend, you know? Or a day, depending on how long you like to watch stuff. that character was that character in Generator Ball was a great character. There are a lot that I've played that are less well known. Anyone seen a show called Air? Anyone seen a series called Air? Yes? Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And I played a character named Yukito. He was this homeless guy, and he makes friends with this girl, this high school girl who's like, she's an outcast too. Like, nobody really likes her at school. She's a little odd, you know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of us get that feeling sometimes, being kind of like not really in the crowd, in the clique. I know I feel that way a lot, so I'm sure a lot of you do. And she's kind of an outcast, and he's kind of an outcast, and they become friends, and it's a beautiful show. Check it out, Air. Yes! Do you have a question for me? He had his hand up, so what's your question? Is this a question? I watched full... Did you really? Did you like it? I love you. What's your name? Aiden? You guys, if you see Aiden around, tell him he's awesome. Will you do that? Aiden says, I watched Full Metal Fantasy with my mom. I liked the camera work? Aiden, what are you, a genius? Wow. Not only does he have pointed ears, but he's smart.
Vulcan in the sky.
Right? He's got Vulcan in his blood, clearly. Do you have any suggestions for kids who want to make their own movies? I love this kid. I'm not joking. Aiden, what a great question. Do you like to make movies? You want to make some? Do you? Okay, let me tell you what he's talking about, you guys. Does anybody know what Full Metal Fantasy is?
I do.
Only a few. Nikki does. Only a few. And here's why. Because it was a kind of a secret little gem, a little jewel. When we first started recording Full Metal Alchemist, the first one, not even Brotherhood, way back, I loved it so much that I wanted to cosplay. I've been cosplaying, don't get scared, but I've been cosplaying since I was Aiden's age. I would go to Star Trek convention in my little homemade Captain Kirk uniform, and my mom would literally drop me off at the front door at the convention and be like, I'll be back at 6, because she wasn't going to go in, right? But, so I wanted to cosplay as Edward. You see the problem, right? The obvious problem is I'm way too tall to play Ed, right? So, and too old. But I wanted to cosplay so bad. So I made up this story whereby a grown man starts turning into an anime character. And the more I thought about it, I thought, I've never seen any voice actors cosplay as their characters. So I called some of the other voice actors in Full Metal, and I'm like, hey, you want to do this thing with me? And they're like, yes. So I wrote this story, and we all got together one weekend in Houston, Texas, and we shot this short film called Full Metal Fantasy. And it's the voice actors cosplaying as their characters. And then I only showed it occasionally at a convention, like a Q&A session, or if I did a concert. If I ever did a live music concert, and for those of you that don't know, I've been writing and producing music twice as long as I've been voice acting. That's a long time. Don't do the math. It's a long time. And so I've sung several theme songs to different anime series, One Piece, DragonBall, Pi, and GT, Full Metal Alchemist, The Angel, or in high school. So I started doing live music concerts at conventions. And I would show Full Metal Fantasy, and then I would come out and sing and play the Brothers theme, right? You know that song? How can I repay you, brother mine? So beautiful. You know everything. You know the power chant, you know the Brothers song, is everything. The oracle, right there. So, if you come over, and I hope you'll come over and see me after the panel, I'll be back at my table, and I have over there a live concert DVD of a live performance of a lot of different great songs from a lot of different anime. And when I was putting the concert DVD together, a lot of people said to me, you should put Full Metal Fantasy on the concert DVD, because it was part of the concert performance. It had never been available before that. I only showed it at conventions. It's never online. So it's on the DVD. And I'm glad that you asked, Aiden. You know what, Aiden? You guys are so lucky, all of you. You are so lucky to live in the time that you live. You know why? Because for decades and decades, if you wanted to make a movie, you had to have a movie studio. You had to have big cameras and giant lights and big sound mics on big poles and all kinds of things. Well, nowadays, you have it in your pocket. Technology nowadays allows you to do amazing things with very, very little expenditure. Like audio recording. Any musicians here? Anybody here sing? Play an instrument? Write songs? Okay, you know what? When I started doing that, I was 17. And the only way you could record music to the quality level of what you hear on the radio was in a full-fledged recording studio. You had to rent an hourly rate at a recording studio where they had all of the equipment to record. They had you know what a cassette is, right? Little tape cassette. Well, the tape machines at a recording studio back then were 2 inches wide, and they had 24 little tracks on them. And that's how you would record music. But you couldn't do it in a house. You had to rent a studio with all of this technology. EQ machines, and mic preamps, and reverb, and special effects that you put in the vocals, and effects you put in guitars, and all of these mics for drums, and on and on. It was cost prohibitive, if you know what I mean. Well, nowadays, you guys, you can record studio quality audio in your bedroom. Because of software that exists now for computers, you can record and mics and programs that have drum loops and strings and saxophones and bass guitars and brass instruments and reed instruments, on and on. All of it is at your fingertips. You could literally sit in your room at your laptop with a $50 microphone and record better quality than a lot of people could have ever done back when I was young. It's crazy. So, Aiden, you live in an amazing time where you can shoot movies on your phone or your mom's phone. You can record audio. You have so many capabilities at your fingertips now. So the sky's kind of the limit. You know, a lot of people, when I was young, a lot of people were like, I would love to do this, but I don't have the money or the equipment or the capabilities. Well, now, it's all right there. All right there. Yes, sir. Speaking of recording, you're next, Nikki, so get your question ready.
You've been asked if you were going to make a dubbing studio of your own.
I have heard that, yes.
What studio is it?
You know, hey big man, how are you? What's your name? Hi Tommy, are you playing a game? No! I love it. You know, a lot of people have asked me that. One thing is for sure, I've spent enough time doing every element of recording and dubbing that I could. I have a recording studio in my home. I've thought about it, about the possibility of opening my own dubbing studio. It would be a lot of work. That's scary. Like how much would actually be involved, you know? I may be maybe a little too tired right now, as it is right now. A little tired, a little on the drained side, as you can imagine, but The idea is a good idea, and there are a lot of people that have asked me about it. There are a lot of people in the industry who have expressed an interest in being a part of it. So I'm talking with some people about it. There certainly hasn't been any decision made, but if we ever dubbed anything, would you get it? Would you get it? And would you be like some of the foundational people who would also? Oh, really? Well, dude, I wish you the best with it. I wish you the best with it. Okay. Note to self. Okay, Nikki, what's your question, my dear?
2 questions. 1, I watched that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And
Wait, what?
that time I got reincarnated as a slime, it's an anime.
Oh, yes!
I noticed that one of the antagonist characters sounded a lot like you, Gil. Were you a voice actor?
I was not, sweetheart.
Yes.
I was not. No slime in my past. Is it a good show, though? Do you enjoy it?
Yes, and I swore that character Gil sounded exactly like you.
Well, now I have to find out who the voice actor was and go and kill him. No, that was a joke. Hey, I was just kidding. What's your second question, baby?
Well, I also heard that rumor and I was gonna offer my ideas.
Oh, see, she's already got ideas for the studio. Oh my gosh. I'm really behind it, aren't I? Everybody's already got this all worked out. I'm like trailing behind. I love it.
My mom thought I have like another idea for my
If that ends up happening, Nikki, I'm calling you, all right?
Do you want my cell phone or my email address?
Email.
Actually, I sent you an email once. You replied.
Yes, I did. And I will again. Yes.
What's the story about you getting the role of Tamaki, and what was your favorite scheme?
Oh my gosh. What's the story behind getting cast as Tamaki? Sending a lot of money to the director. That's my story. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. But here's the true story. Oran High School was one of the only shows that I knew anything about before I started recording. Before the show was even licensed. So let me explain how this happened so you guys will have a good image in your mind. A company in Japan will make an anime. And then American companies, or English-speaking companies, will offer a certain amount of money to the Japanese company to purchase or rent, lease for a limited time, the license to dub that show into English. He's a Japanese company executive, and I say to him, okay, I want to buy the license to this show you just made. It's called The Oracle, and it's starring the guy who's now disappeared. Apparently he has invisibility skills as well. So you created The Oracle, and I want to dub it into English. So I offer him a certain amount of money, and maybe this guy, he has a studio too, and he wants to dub The Oracle, so he offers Johnny more money, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I offer even more. So Johnny lets me have the license, right? Then what happens is, Johnny has his people send my company the video, the music tracks by themselves, all the effects tracks by themselves, and the scripts. And then I have this girl, and so I give her the script, which is in Japanese, right? And she translates it into English. Now, a direct translation doesn't make a lot of sense. Have you ever seen a direct translation of Japanese? Like, the structure is not anywhere near what we would say. Like, she would translate a line from Oran, and it would be, waiting, the club is me. What? No, I'll be waiting for you at the club, is the way we would say it. But the direct translation is not conversational. So she would do a direct translation, and then we would give it to somebody else who would adapt that translation into a more conversational way of speaking. And they would be watching the video to make sure the mouth movements matched, right? If you write a line of dialogue, you want to make sure it's in the flaps of the character, right? And then we would dub it. We would cast it, the director would be hired to cast it, and we would dub it. All of that, none of that had happened when I first saw Horror in High School. Somebody sent me, Caitlin Glass sent me a disc and she's like, you need to watch this, it's the funniest show, and the main character reminds me of you. So my first thought was, oh, I want to see this main character. Like, what is, if he's a jerk, what does that mean? Right? What is Caitlin trying to tell me? So she sent me this disc and it had like the first 7 or 8 episodes. I fell in love with that show. And Tamaki especially. But you don't want to do that. That's bad luck. Because the show hadn't even been licensed yet. And if the show had been licensed to a company in Canada, well, I lived in Texas. I was never going to be dubbing a show in Canada. They would hire Canadian actors. If it had been licensed to a show, to a production company in LA. So when I fell in love with it, before it was even licensed, and I wanted so badly to play that character, there probably wasn't much chance of that, right? But then Funimation got the license. It hasn't even been cast yet. Then they asked Caitlin to direct it. Now you would think, wouldn't you? You would think that that means, oh, you're in. Like, didn't she already tell you? You reminded her of Tamaki. Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you? But Caitlin is a professional. Caitlin takes her job very seriously. So Caitlin called me and she said, I know you want to play this character, but this is an ensemble show. It's all of these hosts together. And I need to make sure and cast a group of people that sounds good together. So I went into audition, and I was so nervous. I'd probably done 200 shows already, and I was nervous because I wanted to play that character so bad. And I went and auditioned, and thank God, she cast me to play that role. And I savored every single line. Like, I would do a line, I'd record a line, and Caitlin would go, that was good, let's move on. And I would be like, can I do it again? And she's like, no! The first time was fine. I'm like, please! I just didn't want it to end. You know, I just wanted to savor every minute of that show. I loved it so much. Yes? Do you have a question? Oh. He wants me to do the Broly voice. Now, I usually don't because it's kind of hard on the voice, right? But you know what my favorite moment of the new movie was? It was when I called Funimation and said, so how many times do I say Kakarot this time? And they said, none. He never says it. I'm like, woo! I love this movie already. And when I got into the studio, I said, now, does it need to sound like the original? And this was the second bit of good news. They said, no. In fact, it's a new Broly. We don't need you to push your voice as low as you did before, which was very uncomfortable, especially when he starts yelling. And even in the new movie, you guys, when they gave me the line count, I had 26 speaking lines and 500 fighting, yelling sounds. So that tells you something, right? Not a man of few words. Not a man who talks a lot. So the first thing we did was we recorded all of the lines of dialogue first, because all of the yelling and fighting just kills your voice. And what we did was we spread it out over a week of recording. So every day I would record for 2 hours, and then go home and sit quietly and rest your voice and come back the next day and hit it again. And we were done within half an hour. We were done with all the speaking lines. Half an hour the first day. So the whole rest of the week was going to be yelling and screaming. You heard it, you saw it. It was intense. I would scream my heart out, and they would go, yeah, that was good. Can you do it longer? I'm like, oh, longer! So it was pretty strenuous. But what I loved about Broly was, the new Broly, was that it was kind of just the few words that he did say, like, Ba was my friend. I love that so much. I love Ba. I love that whole story with the ear tied around his waist. Oh my gosh, I love it. So when people ask me to do Broly now, I don't get quite as scared because all I have to do is drop my voice like this and speak very quietly. But still no Kakarats. We reserve Kakarats for very special occasions. You guys, I'm getting my 3-minute mark here. Who's got one more question? Yes, sir.
It turns out you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yes, I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. For better or worse, right? I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I love the Steelers. They're not having a great year. They lost their quarterback, and they've suffered a lot of setbacks. But yes, who are you a fan of? Seattle, really? Carolina team? Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers. How are they doing this year? Are you? I mean, that's horrible. You gotta listen. If you're a fan, you gotta stick with them, right? People like, I used to be a fan of so and so, but they lost all the time. They need you to be their fan. You can't be the fair weather fan, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna like somebody else now. No, you gotta stick with your team. My mother, you guys, my mother is a diehard Steelers fan, like to a fault. And we always used to be fans growing up, but as she's gotten older, she takes it so much more seriously. Because my phone is blowing up with text messages. They stupid people, they lost the ball. The next text message, interception, these guys are morons. I mean, she's so into it. I'm like, Mother, you're gonna have a heart attack. You can relax. Last question, with the awesome shirt back there. What is your question, oh great Satan?
I was curious. I heard through the grapevine that you might be doing more voice acting. Do you have any prospects?
I have a lot of prospects. The question is like, yeah, you like that, don't you? You ever read one? Sweet. I hope so. I've been asked to do a lot of audiobooks. Yeah, you know what? You'd think cool, right? Audiobooks are a lot of work. Like, they're incredibly tedious, right? Because it's not like just reading a book. I mean, you read books, right? We all have read books. But when you read a book, there's not a $1,000 microphone in front of your mouth recording every single sound you make, and when you stumble over a word or a name, and now if you're recording it, you have to like act it, right? And you have to make it interesting for people to listen to. So suddenly, reading the book is a lot more cumbersome and difficult than you would think. So I've been asked to do several audiobooks, and have been asked to do some voice work for some different things. So yeah, the opportunities are still there. They are. You guys, I think my time is up, isn't it? The people in charge here going, stop talking, Vic. Stop talking. So listen, you guys gonna come over and see me, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm going right over the table. Can I just tell you? Let me tell you something. I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful. Thank you for your appreciation of the work that I've done over the years, and thank you so much especially for being here. I love you guys. God bless you. I hope to meet you in just a minute. Thank you.